All right, awesome. Well, hey, I just want to welcome everybody to USA Benefits Group Impact Podcast number 3. I am Rick Banville, CEO of USA Benefits Group, and I'm so excited about our guests that we have on today, Manny and Cam Quinones, and they are agency leaders here at USA Benefits Group. They own Elite Financial Partners. They have a team here at USA Benefits Group called the Closers Division. And I'll start with Manny. But Manny, how long have you been, with USA Benefits Group?
It'll be coming up on 6 years. 6 years now.
Awesome. And what did you do before you got into insurance?
That's funny. So long story. I was in hospitality, for 20 years, opened restaurants, hotels, traveled all the time. It was a mess. Not much of a social life, not much of a life in general in that industry, but restaurants and hospitality, that was it.
And Cam, what did you do?
I was also in restaurants and hospitality. That's actually how me and Manny met.
Well, that was going to be my next question. So you guys were working together and ran into each other, fell in love, and what happened?
Yeah, I mean, I moved here in Florida in I would say 2013, and I ended up getting a position at the Hard Rock in Tampa, and I was opening up a restaurant for one of the celebrity chefs to come there, and we were doing a hiring event, and here comes Cam, trying to apply for a position. Weren't dating or anything at the time, just training her as a server and whatever position she was going to do, and eventually disconnected after I left there for several years, and then a couple years later, I opened up another celebrity chef restaurant in Tampa and held a hiring event. And I needed good people. I'm like, man, I need people to back me up. So I was like, you know what? I wonder what Cam's doing. And so I reached out and said, hey, are you still in the industry? And, she followed me over.
Yep.
Well,
recruited
awesome.
me.
It seemed like it was a little bit of destiny there for you two to get together, right?
A little bit. Yeah, a little bit.
And when two people, break away in life and then come back together, that's got to be divine appointment, in my opinion. So how cool is that? So what made you want to get out of the hospitality industry and into insurance?
Man, I don't think anybody ever steps foot into insurance. I think it's kind of just like dropped on you, in a sense. I needed more time with my kids, with my family. I was traveling so much. I was working, consistently easy 80, 90 hours a week. And I actually, unfortunately was, getting a divorce at the time. And a buddy of mine was, at the restaurant one day, and, he comes, and I didn't see him in a couple of years, and he pulls up in like a brand new G-Wagon. And I'm like, man, this kid was a bartender a couple of years ago. How the heck has he got a G-Wagon? And I'm like, man, this is nuts. And I was like, what are you doing? And, he sat down, recruited me, and I ended up starting off at a captive insurance agency. I was there for about a year and a half, maybe. And, that's how it started. I was working literally 18 hours a day to try to learn this business. I had to consume it. I was bartending at night, doing insurance during the day. And, at the time, Cam and I were together. We were pregnant with our youngest. And, I was like, this has to work. I have to find a way to make this work because I see everybody being successful in this business. And, I know I can do it. Put my mind to it. So that's kind of how we fell into it, essentially.
It's funny. I'm married too, and I know women just love it when we say we were pregnant.
Yeah.
No, I was pregnant.
He put a lot of effort in for those 9 months. We'll say that.
So what was you guys have a big family, right? And I've gotten to know you two over the years, and I've grown to love and respect you both very, very much. And we're blessed to be, in close proximity together, within an hour apart. So we get to spend some time together, a little bit more time than most of my ability to do that with the agents and agency owners here at USA Benefits Group. So I like that, right? I like that a lot. But I know you guys have a pretty big family. How many children do you have?
4.
4 kids. What was life like for you in terms of not only financially, I'm not looking for you to tell me what you were making or anything like that, but what was it like to have such a big family and be strapped in the hospitality industry and not have, the freedom that you were desiring? What was it like before?
So for me personally, at least all the restaurants that I've ever worked in, the money was great, right? But it was the timing that was terrible for me. I missed out on so many holidays, so many events, so many I wasn't home in the evenings with my kids. And then when Manny branched away, it was more or less, just to be very brutally honest, we did hit a point and financially where we were just deciding which bills were we going to pay on time and which ones we're going to take a late hit on and whatever. And that's really what kind of drove us was, that financial freedom, that time with the kids, everything.
Yeah.
You guys are a power couple, and you remind me a lot of Jess and I, especially, in the beginning. I know Jess tells this story, and she did on our podcast as well. And it was, I went on my first date with Jess, and I'm a salesman, and I couldn't help but, to start telling her about this business because I'm so excited about this business. I think they should teach it in high school. I think people should get into this business, if you don't want to go to college, and you want to make good money and you want to have a financially freedom-making career. I think this is a really good. And I wanted to share that with her, and she looked at me and she said, rather chew my arm off than sell insurance. That was her exact words, and she meant it, right?
Yeah.
But later, luckily I got a second date out of I was able to get a second date regardless of that. She forgave me. But later, she saw what this business was like, and she was a business owner in her own right, and she fell in love with it. But you guys remind me of us in a lot of ways, and you two are a power couple, and you're having great success here. And that's why, I wanted to do this podcast with you, because you have a great success story, and I want to get it out there to the world, and not just to celebrate you. Absolutely. I want to celebrate your success today. And you two are very young, and you have your whole lives ahead of you, and you're just scratching the surface of all this that this business has to offer. But also, for you to, have a testimony to share to others, that you can help others, and you are helping others on a massive scale. You're building a fantastic team. Being able to sow your experience into other people and help them, those who have the desire and the talent, to also have a freedom-making career. And how cool is that you guys are in that position, that you're able to, help other people, right? That you've come to a place, and we'll talk a little bit about where are you today, because that's what I want to talk about. I want you to talk about, what it was like, what happened, and what it's like now. And you just told me what it was like. So what happened? Manny, you got into the insurance business first. You saw that G-Wagon. You said, hey, bro, what you doing? And you jumped into this thing. And then, was it all roses? Was it super easy? Did you just crush it out of the gate? Did you ever feel like quitting? Tell me this story.
No, definitely. So me, the G-Wagon was nice. It was nice seeing, him being successful and obviously like that. But I was more or less looking at it like, man, this guy, he's not the brightest crown in the box. So there's no way this can't be that hard to do. Right. So I was like, I got to figure out how to do this. Right. So no, I struggled tremendously. It was, on the phone, 8 hours a day, 600 dials, not a lot of support, in the beginning. But, like I said, your drive and your momentum just kept you going. And, it's like, there was a time where I was like, man, I don't know if I could do this. I don't know. Like I'm not a quitter on anything. So I was like, I didn't know if I could do it anymore. And, it's funny, when COVID happened, it kind of pushed us into gear. We had no choice, right? So COVID happens, everything's shut down, restaurants are closed. Now we're in the insurance business. Okay. Full time, right? Full time in the insurance business. USABG was still moving forward. It was I think that was almost our best year, honestly. Being able to help people in certain situations and everything that were going on in their lives. Government shut down, and we were just here, still being able to help people, but figuring it out in the long haul. And that's, I think that was what really turned the page for us, financially, and from a perspective of hey, we got this.
But you worked at another organization before. I mean, we can call it what it was. You learned, you cut your teeth selling insurance at US Health Advisors. And I cut my teeth in a very similar organization. even run by the same people, so to speak.
Yeah.
And then you struggled there. And did you ever feel like quitting?
Yeah. I mean, I'm not a person, I guess I didn't fit their mold. I'm not a flashy kind of guy. I'm not I didn't agree with some of their lifestyle choices. And, I'm here a dad. I'm 35 at the time. We got kids with a baby on the way. And yeah, I did think about quitting. And, I got Cam in the background saying, you can do this and we can do this and just, keep pushing forward. But, eventually, like I said, it's just, what happened really was, COVID happened and we had no choice. You're either going to sink or you're going to swim. And we chose to swim. So that's what we did.
What attracted you to USA Benefits Group?
I was backing out of US Health. I remember sitting on the couch one night. It was like, 9 o'clock at night. I just got done literally all day work, just trying to get people on the phone, taking appointments. And I sat down and I popped open Indeed. And I said, there's got to be something better out there. There's got to be something where I can stop turning people away, where I'm referring business out, not selling business. And I saw USA Benefits Group. And I literally clicked on the ad. And I'm like, man, this looks great. And literally you guys are right there in Spring Hill too, which is even better. So I was like, I'm only 45 minutes, for an hour away from it. So I was like, wow, okay, it's pretty cool. And then, literally went on the website. I did Google reviews on all the company and everything like that. And it's like, everything was positive, and then obviously my first phone call, I remember with Tammy was pretty funny,
Tammy was a recruiter.
Yeah. Tammy was a recruiter. She called me up, and I just said, hey, listen, I can sell products. I just need a lot of products. I need options. Do you have those options? And she said, 100%. She's like, there's not a product here you're not gonna be able to help somebody with. And that's what sold me. Because honestly, like at the end of the day, where we came from, a captive agency, when you're limited on options, and then now being able to have options to sell people was amazing.
Yeah. The very similar stories. That's what I'm saying. I'm telling you guys, we're walking in the same tracks. That better part for you though is, I didn't get into the business till I was 37. I didn't find USA Benefits Group till I was 42. I'm a slower study than you. So you came in younger, you learned faster, you got out of the other company quicker, you got to USABG faster, and you got your wife involved quicker too. So, which I want to move over to you, Cam. So Cam, you had a job, right?
Yes.
You have a family, right? And you're watching your husband, wondering if he's going to make it in this business. He starts taking off at USA Benefits Group. And was it his idea? Was it your idea? How did you, come to the conclusion that you were going to jump in with USABG? How hard was it for you to make that decision to leave, a guaranteed paycheck? Tell us about that, because that's a process. It just doesn't, you don't wake up one day and go, oh, I'm going to go sell insurance with my husband. It's a process. It takes years sometimes, to jump in. And we have a lot of power couples that have very similar stories, but I want to hear yours.
Yeah. So, I stuck behind and I stayed in hospitality. I was still working like nightlife. So basically during the day, I still had to get up early to take the kids to school and whatnot. And then when I would come back, it's not like I'm going to go back to bed. So I just kind of assisted him. I helped him in any way that I could. I started out by just like appointment setting for him, booking his calendar up for him. So that way he could prioritize other things. And then I just realized that I liked talking to these people on the phone. It wasn't a hard transition from hospitality to health insurance because, kind of like what you said with Jess, like I'd rather gnaw my arm off than sell health insurance. Mm-hmm. I don't envision it as like I'm selling health insurance. I like educating people and I like helping people. And that's like the heart of hospitality is I'm catering to people all evening, right? Making sure they have a good evening, a good dinner, whatever the case might be. So it was actually a really easy mental transition for me because I'm a people person. I like talking to people and I like helping them. Financially, it was super scary. Actually, you got to think, coming home with just cash in hand every single night. And essentially we used that cash to funnel Manny's business, purchasing leads, you know, doing whatever we needed to do to help the insurance business get up and off the ground and successful. But I will never forget the day that I made the 100% transition. It was Christmas Day. And so the night prior, Christmas Eve, I worked Christmas Eve. So I was not supposed to work Christmas Day. And I was at work and I got an alert on my phone that there was an update to the schedule. And I was put on for the next day. Meanwhile, like I was like cocktail waitressing. The other 3 cocktail girls, they were young, like they're like 21, 22 years old. They don't have husbands. They don't have kids. Why did they have Christmas Eve and Christmas Day off? And I was working both, like a mom, a wife. Like it just didn't make sense to me. And then when I tried to like ask about it, I'm like, hey, like why I'm working tonight. Why am I working tomorrow? Like, I'm not going to get to be with my kids at all. And I was kind of just brushed off. And I went home and I was really upset and I was talking to Manny about it. And he just kind of was like, yeah, they're not going to treat you like that. We're not going to put up with it. Just come join forces with me 100%. Instead of doing half and half, both and both, like just come join forces with me 100%. And I had never quit a job like that before, like not given a 2-week notice or not, you know, I don't know. I'd never done something like that. And I literally cried. I cried for like hours because I was like, are you sure we can do this? Can we afford this? Like, what if I can't do this? What if I can't book enough appointments? What if we, you know, I just had all these what ifs. But he just we switched roles all those months or year, however long, encouraging him, telling him he can do this when he was worried he couldn't. He just kind of told me like, hey, you can do this. Like you're already doing it. Can you imagine if you had more time and more energy to focus on it? Can you imagine how great we'll be and how much more successful we'll be? So it was scary, but I look back now and I'm like, I can't believe she was afraid. But
I looked at how much more appointments I can get on the calendar because I was like, man, we can only work so long right now for these appointments, and you can only do so much, right? So I'm like, well, now I got a partner. I could do this. This is great. Yeah. You know,
he used to lock me in the room with the B lead sheet, and they were some of the worst B leads ever, Rick. And I don't even know how I got appointments out of them, but I did, and yeah, it was intense.
I did the same thing to my wife, Jessica. I handed her a pile of crappy B leads and I says, now she'll respect me. And she came back with like 2 sales and a bunch of appointments. And I'm like, there's no way. This is going to be awesome. We're going to be so good. Right. But I want to say, you know, Merry Christmas to USA Benefits Group, because that day was one of our best gifts to get you both, right? So how cool is that? What's it like right now? Like, what are your functions? What are your primary functions? Like, Manny, what's your primary function in your agency right now?
Well, I mean, being promoted to division was great. You know, we had something that Cam and I have wanted for a long time, and building a great region over the years with the support. But now we really want to learn from the other divisions. We want to, basically take on what USABG's built and see what we can add to the table, and just keep bringing new agents, and like we're doing right now, telling our story and experience, and letting them know like, hey, you can do this. It's one phone call, it's one appointment after another. And, we here are the ones coaching you to do so. That's what I love about it now. It's like, there's such great energy with the divisions, with the company. And, I love the fact that we're a big part of it now. That's huge.
You're absolutely a big part of that. What's your primary function, Cam?
So Manny basically handles like recruiting, training, contracting. He does everything that makes us function and work properly. And I try to solely focus on personal production. I do moonlight on the trainings every once in a while, just because I feel like, sometimes these newer agents, not just hearing the same person explain it, hearing different voices. And because that's how I learned. I listened to John, I listened to Shane, I listened to everybody's pitch, and I just kind of collected my own version of it, essentially. But I mainly focus on personal production and customer service. And Manny really, he takes on the rest. It's a lot.
Yeah, no, I get it. And I know you can, and I know you care, and that's why you cared when you quit that job. Like it bothered you, you quit that job, but it was something you had to do for you and your family. It bothered you because you care, right? And that's a good attribute. But I also know that you care about your clients. You guys care about your agents. We're going to talk about clients for a minute because you talked about you handling personal production. And I know that you're helping your clients, you're finding their problem, and you're solving their problem. You're not a salesperson, you're a problem solver.
Yeah.
Right. And with USA Benefits Group product or portfolios and the trainings and the camaraderie and the collaboration here, you got a solution for everybody's problem. And that's, that feels good. Right. And then for you, Manny, and I know there's overlap. I know you guys help each other, and I know it's not, a single lane. We have a running joke at my house or in my home, with Jess, my wife, is stay in your lane, Banville. And the way that works is I'm supposed to stay in my lane, but it's perfectly fine for her to come in my lane as well. Okay. So I can't go in her lane, but she can come in my lane. That's marriage.
Her lane is her lane and your lane is her lane.
Right.
Yeah.
But so I know there's a little bit of overlap in that regard, but just like you care about your clients, you both care about your agents as well. You want them to be successful. I think you're at a place where you stop, not counting your money as much, making sure that they're making enough to be able to take care of their families. And are they doing their part? Because if they're doing their part, then you're going to help them in every single way that you can. I know your hearts, and you guys are a great, addition to the USA Benefits Group, a leadership team. And that's where you are today. So how cool is that? Tell me about the team building, Manny. You guys, you've gotten into team building. Tell me a little bit about your team, and how you got there. You tell me. Talk to me about your team. I mean, what you're doing about building your team and how that's working for you.
Well, I guess we'll start off in the beginning. It's like, it's not that I didn't want to build a team in the beginning. I was just so focused on just trying to make the next sale, right? Trying to just put food on the table for the family. And, but the recruiting got kind of, I fell into it, and, I recruited a couple agents here and there. And then, I just kind of showed them what I was doing, like literally on a Zoom call like this. And we, hearing clients' pitches and stuff like that. But now it's like, we built such a great relationship with our agents because they know that we truly care about them, their success, where they want to be at, where they want to go. And, even on all these trips and carrier incentives, everybody always looks at us like, man, look at Manny's team. Like those guys, they're doing everything together all the time. Like I remember our first trip we all went to, it was San Miguel in Mexico. And I had all these other agents coming up to me. He's like, "Oh, who are you with? Who are you part with?" I'm like, "A USA Benefits Group." I'm like, "Are these all your team? This is all your team right here?" I was like, "Yeah." And they're like, "Man, this is such a great feeling to see how you guys are so connected." And I'm like, "Well, we talk to each other every day. We do Zooms. It's not like, we don't, we're not existent to them. Like this is our family. At the end of the day, like this is a part of our family, and they know our kids and we know their kids and stuff. So it's like, that's the message that I literally bring on to any agent coming on board. We're a family. At the end of the day, we're going to take care of you and, help you get to the next level. But no, it's an amazing attribute.
I love it. What would you say your why is? What's your why? Why do you get up every day and do what you do without fading, diminishing, getting burnt out? What's your why? I'll go with Cam.
So I grew up in the deep South. And when I was a kid, I would have swore I grew up poor, right? Now as an adult, I understand that we weren't poor. My parents were financially okay and whatnot. But I just remember, as a kid not having or not being able to do, or just comparing myself to other kids. And I want to create generational wealth. I'm all for our kids. They still got to work. They gotta make their own path. But I have no problem, kind of laying the foundation and giving them options and stuff. But to me, financial freedom and generational wealth is huge for me, because I don't want my kids to struggle. I don't want them to have to take the long road. If we can give them a little shortcut, that'd be cool. They're still, like I said, they're still going to earn everything that they get. But I don't know. I want my kids to have opportunities that I didn't have. if that makes
Amen.
sense.
Amen. Absolutely. Manny, I'm going to change the why up a little bit for you. Okay. But that was perfectly answered. And I knew that was going to be your answer, Cam. But Manny, why USA Benefits Group? Why have you aligned with USABG? And why do you continue to be aligned with USABG?
I mean, it's everything. It's the structure, it's the training, it's the direction from leadership. I mean, it's, the products, the carriers. I mean, that's all great, but it's literally you guys, you, Jess, everybody laying the foundation for us to make it easier, so we have like you said, an easier path than what you did coming on this board, coming in this business. And, over the years like this, I remember being an agent, making my first sale and just seeing how much energy there was on the call. Like, we all do this from Zoom. Like, there was so much energy, there was so much camaraderie, there was so much love and passion for everybody else's business, not just their own. And that's who I wanted to work with. That's who I wanted to align myself with.
Well, you guys are a big part of that now. So you are that sauce that you were looking for. You're part of that. People are looking for that from you as well. So that's what makes it, so good. We're partners, right? So we're part of that, and you're part of that, right? And that's what people are looking for. What do you think makes a good agent? You've hired a lot of agents. Some make it, some don't. What's the trait that makes a good agent make it here at USABG?
I mean, at USABG, I think number one, you got, in general, an agent has to have a why. They have to figure out why they want to do this every day, why they want to get on a Zoom call, why they want to make 150 dials, why they want to get hung up on 20, 30 times a day. You have to have a why. That's the big reason. And number two, if you're not an agent with USABG, you definitely want to be. Just put it that way. There's so much, it's clear direction. It's clear direction every day.
Can an agent make $100,000 their first year here?
100%. I did.
Yeah.
Can an agent make $250,000, 2 or 3 years in?
Yep.
Yeah.
Can a team builder make $500,000 here?
100%.
Can an agency owner have $1 million or a 7-figure or multi-7-figure agency asset?
100%.
Amen. All right, 100%. That's
100%.
good. Where do you see, and this is a tough question because we don't really know, right? But, I've been doing this for 21, 22 years, and I've seen the health industry be in continual turbulence, right? It's always disturbed, right? Just when we think we got it going on, right? A new administration comes in, new regulations, new rules, new carriers, right? And it's chess, right? We're playing chess. And you heard me tell this story. I've stopped getting scared a long time ago because, we've been able to pivot on a dime no matter what happens. But where do you see the health and insurance industry, say in the next 3 to 5 years? Where do you see us going?
I mean, if anything, I say it's going to continue to improve, because there's always improvement. I don't think it's going to go downhill like, people are saying. And, I look at it like, with every challenge comes a new positive, feature to it. So like, what was it last year with ACA or 2 years ago with ACA, and then short-term medical in a way. And we always found a way to pivot around it, and the big thing is that the carriers are there as well. I mean, we have so many carriers that, like, I literally had an agent call today and he literally asked me the same question, and he said, what do you think? And I said, listen, that's why I partner with USABG. That's why we have all these products and carriers. You can literally pair anything, with any product, anything you like, with any kind of clientele. I was like, so don't worry about what's going on in the administration. Don't worry about that stuff. Just focus on what you can actually help them with at the time.
Yeah. Personally, some of my favorite products to write, they're front of the line fighting for the insurance industry. So I'm never worried because I know that they're going to advocate, and they're not. It's insurance is never going to be a one size fits all. So, as long as we have plenty of products to offer, then I think we're going to be fine.
Yep.
Yeah, absolutely. So if you were, you are right now, we're speaking to the new agent out there that's looking for a home, right? What would you want to say to him or her, right? To say, hey, you know what? Come check us out. This might be a good fit for you. What can you say to a prospective agent that's kind of struggling, kind of where you and I were way back in the day? they don't really know if they're going to still be in this business. They've hit a couple different agencies or FMOs, and they just haven't found that niche or that stride, and they're looking for, they're looking for that home and that family that you talked about. What would you say to them right now? Speak right to them.
There's a reason why right now that we ended up on this phone call. There's a reason why. God put you in a place to talk to us, to get you in a position, to get you back on track. My biggest thing is when I left the previous company I was with and I came to USABG, I needed support. I needed guidance. I needed structure. I needed to know like what I could do. Like the crazy part is like the path's already there. You don't got to go left. You don't got to go right. You just follow the path. And knowing that we here behind the caller and, the trainings, everything we do, case studies, we're going to be here to help you every single step of the way. That you're not sitting out there in left field wondering, what do I do? So there's a reason why you're on this call today, 100%.
And for those new agents, so those agents, they don't have to be new, but agents that are out there that are not with us today, okay, and they're watching this video, they're listening, whether they're in a car, Spotify or YouTube or Facebook or whatever it is, okay. And how should they get in contact with you, Manny or Cam? How can they join you and be under your tutelage and be part of that family that you just described? Your team is your family. How can they come tap you and say, hey, because I was always looking for a vehicle of opportunity that worked and a mentor to show me how. And between the USA Benefits Group platform partnered with you and Cam, there's no stopping a new agent if they have the time and the talent. So how can they get a hold of you?
Like I tell all my clients and my agents, my personal cell is the best way to get a hold of me. 813-512-0160.
Oh, say it. I interrupted you.
813-512-0160. Call me directly. Text me. If you want to text, I'll literally schedule a call with you right away. And any situation you're going through, I guarantee you I can help. Doesn't matter what it is.
That's awesome. And you know what? So I want everybody to know that we're on Spotify, we're on YouTube, we're on Instagram, we're on Facebook. Check us out, USA Benefits Group, Manny and Cam Quinones, top agency leaders here at USA Benefits Group, getting it done, living a financially freedom-making career and paying it forward to others. Thank you so much, Manny and Cam. You guys are awesome, and we're so blessed and honored to have you be a part of the leadership team here at USA Benefits Group. So God bless you.
We love it. Thank you.
Thanks for having us.